So, a few weeks ago, I ended up in a conversation that prompted me to do what I'm going to talk to you about today. And that is okay, so here's how the conversation went. It involved um, talking about potential, fantasizing about potential castings for upcoming DC DCU films, right? One of the ones that, if you talk to me at any great length of time, that I am especially waiting on pins and needles for, it's the next Batman to be cast. Now, we've been told time and time again that Robert Pattinson is not going to be the DCU Batman, the universe that James Gunn is creating right now. And part of the Batman in the DCU will involve having an established Bat family. That's what we've been told so far. So I ended up in this conversation because you have, like, in my viewpoint, you have plenty of actors um, that could potentially play Batman. So while there is a Batman issue, you want to make sure you get the right guy to play Batman. If you're going to be doing an established Bat family, um, one of the characters is definitely going to be Dick Grayson, Nightwing, the first Robin. And considering the fact that James Gunn has also mentioned that the Robin at the time in the Batman movie he wants to do is going to be Damian Wayne, you know that you have a situation where by that time Dick Grayson is Nightwing. He's no longer Robin. So I was sitting there with some gaming friends of mine, and we were talking about the idea of casting Dick Grayson Nightwing. And I had made the half serious, half joking joke that everybody makes involving casting Dick Grayson. And that's that in casting Dick Grayson, you have to pick someone with a serious ass. Okay? Dick Grayson is repeatedly drawn in a way that makes him and his derriere look Maximus. Well rounded, very prominent, but muscular. So, one of the jokes that exists, and I'm not the only one that has vocalized this, is who out there can possibly create that image without any CGI? And I was sitting there and I mentioned, I was like, look, one of the things people always joke about is could they find somebody that had the right butt? Okay. Now, I've heard people, men and women alike, refer to this as an issue, a need to find the right derriere attached to an actor that at least can recite lines and move around and maybe has dark hair. People put a lot of focus on this ass. Somebody that can fill the spandex and rubber that is the Nightwing costume. Now, what happened is obviously you can see the title of this video and know that this video isn't supposed to be about Nightwing and casting Nightwing. What it's supposed to be about is something completely different. Now I'm going to get to that. Okay. See, because one of my gaming friends said to me, "Oh, Connor Storrie." "Who is Connor Storrie?" I asked. and they found a picture of um, a gentleman, two gentlemen actually, one of which they showed me his one of the stills from the topic of today's video. Um, and it looked like Nightwing's ass. Okay. So I'm talking about those of you that are in the know who Connor Storrie is. Now, Connor Storrie is one of the stars, plays Ilya in a new hit show, Heated Rivalry. Heated Rivalry has taken the North American continent by storm and has been the talk of many of my friends, these women included. And they showed me this. I was like, what am I looking at besides a dude's butt, right? And they said, this guy is from Heated Rivalry. Now, I had already heard about Heated Rivalry from plenty of people. Friend of the channel, Sheena from Melanin Manga, has talked about it extensively with me. You gotta watch Heated Rivalry. You gotta watch Heated Rivalry. If you're not gonna read Heated Rivalry, you need to watch Heated Rivalry. So I knew very little going into this, and this woman in front of me is showing me this guy's butt, and apparently it's in Heated Rivalry, and apparently he looks like he could fill out the Nightwing Lycra. And I was like, okay. About that time, I was like, I have to find some time to go ahead and check out Heated Rivalry. Now, Heated Rivalry, we're going to talk about here today. My name is Carrie. I am the officially unofficial geek. I am an author, reviewer, pop culture commentator, and today we're going to talk about Heated Rivalry and how I binged it over the last 2-3 days. Okay? So, if you want to watch Heated Rivalry and you live in the United States, you can watch it on HBO Max. Heated Rivalry is a TV show. It's one season, 6 episodes. But from rumor on the street, there's going to be more seasons. And it is based off of a book series by Rachel Reed. Rachel Reed basically wrote this series of novels. They're all, from what I can tell in my research, they're all hockey based. They're all MM romance, gay romance, and it is they're all gay romance with basis in hockey, professional hockey. We have this was created in Canada. It was created for the Crave Network in Canada by executive producer. Well, actually, it was created, written, and directed. The TV series based on the novel the TV series was written, created, and directed by Jacob Tierney. And okay, yeah, it's based on the Game Changers novel series by Rachel Reed. And it's the name of the show is taken from the name of the second book, Heated Rivalry. So the story is that it follows Shane Hollander, played by Hudson Williams, and Connor Storrie, the aforementioned Connor Storrie, playing Ilya Rozanov. They are professional hockey players that meet each other right before they end up in their professional hockey career playing for the MLH League, which is meant to be very similar to the NHL, and it's about gay hockey players. Let's be real here. It's about gay hockey players and their relationship and their passions and their love affairs and that kind of thing. So, um, like I said, it's 6 issues, or six. No, guys, we are not talking about comics today. It is 6 episodes, and they're all around an hour long. 45 minutes to an hour long. I breeze right through like the first, I think maybe like, 3 or 4 episodes the first night that I watched it. And then I finished it up the next night. And here is night 3. I'm talking to you guys about it. So, here I am. I'm going to tell you what I thought of Heated Rivalries, the show that I watched purely to see if that butt can be Nightwing. Let's go. Let's do this. Okay, so we have the reason why a lot of people are probably watching Heated Rivalry is because, one, it is fully mainstreaming a steamy, spicy gay relationship. One that is not necessarily PG, is definitely not, there's no necessary about it. This is definitely not PG. This is rated R. This is rated mature. This is don't watch this with the kiddies around. Okay? Make sure they've gone to bed for the evening and then watch it if you have that. Any sensitive, people watching it might not be um, comfortable watching it. There is definitely a lot of nudity in it. And to that, I say, welcome. Welcome to the butts. The butts, they be a whiling out in Heated Rivalry. But anyways, so there's this like major like passion that is portrayed between the characters of Ilya um, and and uh, um, and Shane. Um, and they're rivals. There's like this passion because of them being rivals. And they're like pitted in the media against each other. So it's like really one of those things where it's like they are kind of got this whole enemies to lovers thing going on. So if that's something that's up your alley, check that box, okay? Um but the way that these two men portray this absolute yearning, and it's just absolutely like you feel like you are watching like the intimate details of someone's actual life. This is how intense, and intense in like one of those ways where you cannot look away. First of all, you have these two beautiful men that are yearning and intense with each other in public and in private, okay, in different ways. So that tension is really something that's gonna keep you glued to your seat and your eyes glued to the screen, okay? Like if somebody's interrupting you, you're gonna like have to check yourself and make sure you don't snap at them, because it's gonna be like, hey, can I talk to you? As what? Can I talk to you about something? No. Okay. Make sure that you're not hurting anyone's feelings while watching Heated Rivalry. Um, there are things um, that it's there's a few things. Okay, so a few pluses with Heated Rivalry is the tension, the yearning and the portrayal of this, sordid love affair, this friends to enemies kind of concept, um, and pointing it right there and what I would say would be a very mainstream, format. The other thing that I would say is kind of on the negative side is we got like this kind of like interlude episode. So most of this series is centering around Ilya and Shane. Okay, but we got these like little like interlude moment um between Shane and Kip. Shane being a captain of another team in the league, Kip being the adorable, um, it's just the absolutely adorable heart on his sleeve, smoothie king. Okay, um, he and literally, when I say smoothie king, I'm not making like I'm not. This guy can make a smoothie, and that's how he ends up initially getting Shane's attention is because he made a yummy smoothie. Shane went out and scored a shit ton of goals, and now Shane is like, "Oh, I got to do this again." So he keeps on coming back to get the smoothie. Now, yes, he's being kind of um like you know like you know what I'm talking about. He's being like I have to have this smoothie because I scored all these goals and then we're going to see if it happens again and then it happens again. And so he keeps on coming back. So he's you know being superstitious. That's the word I'm looking for. He's being superstitious about the goals. And so one of the things, and I don't want to talk about too much specifically because I kind of want to go ahead and kind of goat you all into going to the show and watching it. Um, what I would say is it felt like because that, from my research, seems like that was kind of the plot of the first book. That it would have, I would have not minded sitting through a couple more episodes to give Shane and Kip a little bit more room to breathe. Um, I feel like it kind of rushed through Shane and Kip's story because we were all kind of just because it was a sweet love story, but it was also kind of it was not tortured in the way that Ilya and Shane were, but it was kind of there's a little bit more of a hesitancy and while there was um a frightened nature to Ilya and Shane, um there was still that apprehensiveness with Shane and Kip because of the position they're in, being athletes in a professional, well, Shane was an athlete in a professional arena, falling in love with Kip. But with that being the plot for the first book, and then the plot for the second book being like Shane and Ilya, um, I feel like Shane and Kip really didn't get their due. So then by the end, when you find out what's going on there, it's kind of like, well, um, we have this whole in between area where we know nothing. Okay. So, like, yeah, I'm all like hot and bothered over here with Shane and Ilya, but like this was also a story that I feel like I could have sat through two more episodes to give them an opportunity to kind of, give us more, you know, where maybe if the episode wasn't fully for, an hour, I would have stuck around for 15 more minutes plus a couple more episodes on some of these episodes just so that we could have given us something, this whole like juxtaposition of the differences between Kip and Shane and Ilya and not Kip and well, Kip and did I say I haven't been saying Shane? If I've been saying Shane this whole time, when I mean like, oh my goodness, I am so dorky. Okay, so Shane and Ilya are one relationship, and then you have the the relationship between Kip and I'm looking to make sure I've got the name. Um Scott. Excuse me. Scott. Scott and Kip, Shane and Ilya. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. See, this is the point. This kind of illustrates my point even more because Scott and Kip deserved more time. This is my viewpoint. Scott and Kip deserved more time in this first season, um, to kind of show us that juxtaposition between what's going on here and what's going on in their relationship and how it's reacting to everything in the world around them with Scott and Kip versus, what's going on here with Ilya and Shane. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that's kind of my negative about the show. We didn't get enough Scott and Kip. We didn't get enough Smoothie King. Okay? All right? We didn't get enough Smoothie King. And that was part of the disappointment that I did feel for an overall good series. It was overall good. And some of the stuff that I've been hearing about the second season, um, I'll probably be there watching probably sooner than I did with this one. And I hope we do get to see more of the lovely character that is Kip. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say, I want to see more of Kip's dad. Okay. Not because in particular that he's like hot or anything, but I want to see more of Kip's dad because he is a sweetie pie. Okay. Kip's dad, Smoothie King's dad, is a nice dude. You get that from the show. Kip's dad, Smoothie King's dad. Okay. Kip shall be forever. You know what? Kip shall be forever known from this point forward as Smoothie King. Okay? That's how we're going to refer to Kip from this point on. Smoothie King's dad is a sweetie pie, and I would have liked to have seen more of Smoothie King's dad. I want to know Smoothie King's dad's reaction to what happens by the end of the series to his son, by the end of the season to his son. And maybe we'll get more of that in the second season, but I feel like it would have been a nice juxtaposition between the two relationships to see Scott and Kip, Smoothie King, and then also Shane and Ilya, who dominates the season. But anyways, that's about my very spoiler light review of Heated Rivalries. And I will tell you, if you were wondering, yes, while I do feel that the butt can fit the lycra, he could possibly be Nightwing. I don't know. I have other ideas on who Nightwing could be, but let me know. Let me know if you guys in the comments would like me to do a show about who I would cast in the roles that would potentially be cast, hopefully, eventually, soon, involving the next Batman DCU movie. Okay, so anyways, let me know. Did you read the Game Changer series? Let me know. Did you watch Heated Rivalries? What do you think of my review? What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, I'll be seeing ya. Bye bye.